Hello guys, this is Top Videos, please enjoy. Top 10 Weird Things That Happened in 2020. Top 10. As the hours ticked by on New Year's Eve 2019, a few drivers close to Yakima, Washington, found in the new year caught on an interstate. A monstrous mass of tumbleweed left them abandoned in their vehicles for around 10 hours while laborers attempted to uncover vehicles that had been totally covered underneath the intruder plants. 2 snowplows were utilized to clear the tumbleweeds after they were blown onto the State Highway 240 during solid winds. One of the State Watch troopers, Chris Thorson, revealed to the Seattle Times that in 20 years hands-on he had seen nothing very like seeing the Goliath tumbleweeds obstructing vehicles. Tumbleweed is generally connected to the American West yet began in the Ural Mountain steppe in Russia. Top 9. In October 2020 it was accounted for that a cut wooden box had been found at the scandalous Boleskine house. The property was once possessed and occupied by soothsayer Aleister Crowley, just as Jimmy Page, guitarist and author of Led Zeppelin. The container was supposed to have been fixed with dissolved wax and was purchased by means of online sale by Rick Spencer, an occupant of Grimsby. The individual who offered the crate to Spencer asserted that he had discovered it under the flooring sections of the Boleskine house after a fire tore through it in 2015. In November 2020, Spencer stirred up the nerve to open the container, in the wake of sprinkling a hover of salt around it. Inside he discovered something looking like a voodoo doll, a sketch that is suggestive of the sinister film DVD front, just as coins and what appeared to be vegetation. Spencer accepts that the crate may indeed be a debug box and requested anybody with data on the proprietor of the house somewhere in the range of 2012 and 2015 to reach him. The proprietor around then would have been millionairess Trudy Bayakar-Backer. Top 8. On September 1, 2020, an American Airlines flight group detailed a fellow in a jetpack flying at the plane's height of 3,000 feet above LAX, Los Angeles International Airport. Another plane's team detailed seeing the man also, around 10 minutes later. In October 2020, a flight group once more detected an individual in a jetpack at an elevation of around 6,000 feet. 7 miles northwest of LAX. The FAA cautioned the FBI, who were researching the sightings at the time. To date it stays indistinct who the individual is that went flying around in a jetpack or whether the pilots and group of the various planes just confused another item with a jetpack-wearing man. Some likewise accept that the flying item may have been a robot with a life-sized model joined to it. Top 7. Jade Dodd from Tennessee recharged her driver's permit online in 2020 and got her new permit card not long after. She was flabbergasted notwithstanding, when she saw that her face didn't show up on the permit. All things considered, it brandished a vacant seat. She reached the DMV, who was distrustful of what Dodd was advising them from the outset. Yet, when they checked their records, they couldn't resist the opportunity to laugh. It turned out that the seat was the last photo taken and saved to Dodd's document. Likewise, the photo was supposedly unintentionally taken before it was saved, which is the way it advanced onto the permit. True to form, after Dodd presented the clever photograph on Facebook, it turned into the point of convergence of a few images. Luckily, she didn't need to stand by long for the misstep to be corrected and gotten a repaired permit card without the seat in August. Top 6. Recently, Dr. Laik Khan from Uttar Pradesh in India began treating a lady for an undisclosed affliction and met her 2 children during the lady's visits. The 2 men steadily began informing the specialist concerning a Baba, minister or God-man, who might visit their home, and in the end got the specialist to go to their home and meet the Baba. The 2 men additionally had a light in their ownership that they guaranteed could create a jinn, or genie, which brought best of luck and wealth. At one point, Dr. Khan inquired as to whether he could take the light home after one of the men made a jinn show up from the light. The men won't, saying that the light could carry damage to the specialist, yet they gave in when he said he would pay for it. Dr. Khan paid $93,000, around 7 million rupees, for the light. however before long acknowledged there was nothing supernatural about it. The specialist at that point moved toward the police and recorded a grievance after he additionally understood that the jinn he had seen was no doubt one of the two men in disguise. The two men were captured in November 2020 and were being held in care in front of charges being documented. The one who was accepted to be their mom is, truth be told, the spouse of one of the men and is on the run as she also was engaged with the trick. Top 5. On 10th of January, Shauna Stamey and her family were watching out for their white female German Shepherd who was currently bringing forth 8 pups. At the point when the 4th pup began advancing out, Stamey was stunned to see that his hide was lime green. The other 7 little dogs all brandished white or dark hide. Luckily, the shading caused no mischief for the little puppy. He had essentially been stained with meconium prior to being conceived. Meconium being a dull green substance that frames the principal defecation of an infant puppy. The family checked with a nearby vet to see that everything was well with the little dog and were consoled that he wouldn't remain that tone for eternity. They likewise chose to call the little pup Hulk, and accept that he is their 4-leaf clover. Top 4. From green pups to green food. It is consistently somewhat odd when things don't come in the shading you expect them to. In the center of 2020, a rancher chose to post a few pictures of newly laid eggs on Facebook. He had seen that the eggs his hens had been laying had dull green yolks since 2019, yet he just shared pictures of it 9 months after the fact. These photos turned into a web sensation and pulled in the consideration of specialists at the Kerala Veterinary and Animal Sciences University. They reached the rancher and gathered one of his hens just as a couple of eggs to attempt to decide the reason for the green yolks. Researchers discovered green shade in fat stores underneath the skin of the hen and immediately broke the case, verifying that the feed given to them was causing the abnormally hued eggs. They furnished the rancher with elective poultry feed and inside about 14 days the yolks of the eggs laid by all the hens were back to their typical yellow tone. Top 3. 108 years after the sinking of the Titanic, the world remaining parts intrigued by the misfortune and each bit of information that encompasses it. Continuous investigations have prompted news reports in September 2020 declaring that a sunlight-based tempest which started the aurora borealis may have caused impedance with the boat's navigational equipment. There was no moon on the night the Titanic sank, yet the northern lights had enlightened the sky overhead, as seen and revealed by numerous survivors. Autonomous Titanic specialist, Mila Zinkova, distributed a paper this year where she nitty-gritty proof that the sunlight-based tempest and northern lights may have eventually played with the boat's compass and cause it to veer into the way of the chunk of ice. She likewise represented the probability that the Carpathia compass as well was influenced by the sunlight-based tempest. Zinkova's examination additionally set that the Titanic's radio transmissions would have been influenced by the sun-oriented tempest. This would then clarify why the Titanic's SOS signals went unheard and why reactions were never received. Historian Tim Malton concurs with Zinkova that a sun-based tempest occurred that evening, however he doesn't really accept that it might have added to the fiasco, rather clutching the underlying discoveries that the boat sank because of disappointments in its plan and an absence of compelling team convention. Top 2. During the 2007 Bella Via celebration in Monterrey, Mexico, a drawing of the Virgin Mary was added to the black top of an outside parking garage in the city. The attracting was intended to last around 3 weeks, considering it was attracted chalk. Fast forward to October 2020 and pictures of the drawing begins getting out and about on the web. However, these are not pictures taken during the 2007 celebration. All things being equal, they are new photos taken after the drawing bafflingly returned on the black top in 2020. Devotees began running to the site, accepting the return of the attracting to be a marvel. The anonymous craftsman likewise visited the parking area and affirmed that the drawing was the one made 13 years ago. Officials cordoned off the site and let water run over the attracting a few times to make it more obvious. Not every person was energetic about the marvel, nonetheless, with some truism the discussion of wonders is the thing that is shielding Mexico from pushing ahead. Top 1. Who would not like to win the lottery? Envision winning millions and afterward at last having the chance to purchase your fantasy home or going on that since quite a while ago wanted for excursion to outlandish areas. In December 2020, 20 individuals in South Africa had their fantasies materialized when they became moment moguls in the wake of sharing a big stake of $7.8 million. The kicker? The triumphant numbers were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. People via web-based media promptly cried foul, saying the outcome was manipulated and that the whole lottery measure was only a trick. South Africa's National Lotteries Commission pledged to examine the extraordinary draw and would make its discoveries known in due time. In the interim, a portion of the anonymous victors expressed that they picked the consecutive numbers out of intuition while others simply needed to take a stab at something else. If you like this video, please leave a like, share and comment, and don't forget to click the subscribe button.